My child, I want to speak to the tiredness you have been explaining away. I want to speak to the heaviness you keep calling normal, the ache you keep calling nothing, the weariness you keep pushing past because there is always one more thing to do, one more person to answer, one more responsibility waiting for your strength. I have seen the way you have tried to be reasonable about your pain. I have seen the way you have told yourself it is just stress, just a long week, just a season, just your personality, just your body being difficult again. But I want you to listen gently today, because some of what you have been minimizing may not be random at all. It may be your body speaking where your soul went silent. Your body often remembers what your soul had to bury, not as punishment, not as failure, not because you are weak, not because you did not pray enough or trust enough or heal fast enough. Your body remembers because I made you whole, and what touches one part of you can echo through the rest of you. The grief you had no room to grieve, the fear you had no permission to name, the shame you swallowed because you did not know where else to put it, the responsibility you carried because no one else seemed willing to carry it with you. These things do not always disappear because you stop talking about them. Sometimes they wait, sometimes they press. Sometimes they rise through the body, asking for care. That heaviness in your chest that seems to come without warning, that tightness in your jaw when you are trying to stay calm, that exhaustion after small tasks that should not feel so large, those tears that come in the car, in the shower, at night, when nothing obvious has happened, that sleep that does not restore you, even when your eyes have been closed for hours. I have noticed it. I have noticed it, and I am not standing over you with accusation. I am drawing near with compassion. This message is not about blaming your body. It is not about fearing every sensation. It is not about diagnosing what only wisdom, care, and proper help may need to discern. This is about meeting the whole person. This is about me coming not only for your thoughts, not only for your spirit, not only for the part of you that knows how to sound strong, but for the body that has carried the unsaid truth when your mouth could not form the words. If this message is already naming something you could not explain, like this video, as an act of agreement that you are ready to stop dismissing what needs my tenderness, subscribe for more restorative God messages that help you return to peace, and share this with someone who has been carrying quiet heaviness and calling it ordinary. And before we go deeper, type this in the comments as your first declaration. Lord, restore what my body has been carrying. Let that be more than a sentence. Let it be the beginning of honesty. Let it be the moment you stop treating your pain as an interruption and begin allowing it to become an invitation into my restoring presence. And I want you to know this, my child. I saw what you had to swallow to survive. I saw the words that rose in your throat and stopped there because speaking them would have cost you too much in that moment. I saw the grief you postponed because there was no time to fall apart. I saw the tears you forced back because someone needed you composed. I saw the strength you performed while something inside you was bending under the weight. You were not invisible to me in the moment when everyone else only saw you functioning. There were times when your silence was not agreement. There were times when your quietness was not peace. There were times when you did not speak because speaking did not feel safe, because telling the truth might have brought rejection, punishment, misunderstanding, dismissal, or more responsibility than your heart could bear. You stayed quiet to keep the peace. You stayed quiet to protect someone else. You stayed quiet because you had learned that your honesty made others uncomfortable. You stayed quiet because no one near you had shown themselves gentle enough, steady enough, or safe enough to receive the truth of what was happening inside you. It was not weakness. It was not drama. It was not a lack of faith. It was pain with nowhere safe to go. Hear me say that again until the accusation loses its grip. It was not weakness. It was not drama. It was not a lack of faith. It was pain with nowhere safe to go. And when pain has nowhere safe to go, it does not always vanish. Sometimes it settles. Sometimes it hides beneath your breathing. Sometimes it becomes the heaviness you cannot explain. Your shoulders have carried what your mouth could not say. Your stomach has held fear that your mind tried to dismiss. Your nervous system has stayed alert long after the danger passed, long after the conversation ended, long after the room changed, long after everyone else moved on. Your body kept watch because some part of you believed it had to. Your body braced because it remembered what happened when you were unguarded. Your body tightened because it was trying to help you survive what your soul was never meant to carry alone. I am not angry at your body for telling the truth. I am not disappointed in the trembling, the fatigue, the ache, the tension, the sudden tears, the deep need to withdraw. I am tender toward the places in you that have been overworked by hidden sorrow. I am tender toward the parts of you that had to hold more than they were designed to hold. I reveal these things not to shame you for burying them, but so that what was buried can finally be brought into my light, my care, my restoring presence. And now I want to speak to the voice that taught you to ignore your own weariness. The voice that rises inside you when your body asks for rest. The voice that says, keep going, do not be a burden, do not need too much, do not ask for help, do not stop until everything is handled, do not let anyone see that you are tired, do not make your pain inconvenient, do not let your limits become a problem for someone else. I know that voice. I have heard it speaking over you in moments when I was inviting you to breathe. I have heard it accuse you when your body was only asking to be cared for. I have heard it turn rest into guilt, need into shame, and limits into something you felt you had to apologize for. But my child, that voice is not my voice. It may sound responsible, it may sound mature, it may sound spiritual, it may even sound like wisdom because it has been with you for so long. But I want you to discern its fruit. My voice leads you into truth with tenderness. My voice corrects without crushing. My voice strengthens without teaching you to despise your humanity. The voice that demands endless endurance from you. The voice that makes you feel guilty for needing what I designed you to need. The voice that treats your body as an obstacle instead of part of my beloved creation. That voice was formed somewhere. It was learned somewhere. It entered through pain, pressure, fear, survival, or repeated disappointment. Maybe it formed in a place where love felt connected to performance, where you were noticed when you achieved, praised when you produced, valued when you were useful, and overlooked when you were simply needy. Maybe it formed because responsibility came to you too early, because you became the steady one, the helper, the listener, the peacemaker, the child who learned to read the room, manage the mood, carry the tension, and make sure everyone else was all right. Maybe it formed in spiritual environments where strength was celebrated but sorrow was rushed, where faith was confused with never struggling, where people quoted truth at your pain without sitting with your heart. Maybe it formed in workplaces that rewarded exhaustion, where the tired body was admired, the unavailable person was promoted, and the one who had no boundaries was called committed. Maybe it formed in relationships where honesty was punished, where telling the truth led to distance, anger, ridicule, withdrawal, or accusation. So you learned to keep quiet and keep functioning. I am not saying this to trap you in the past. I am saying this so you can stop mistaking conditioning for identity. I am saying this so you can understand why rest has felt unsafe, why receiving care has felt uncomfortable, why your first instinct is to override yourself even when you are clearly depleted. Your exhaustion is not proof that you failed. It may be evidence that you were trained to abandon yourself for too long. It may be evidence that you learned how to leave your own needs behind in order to stay accepted, stay useful, stay safe, stay needed, or stay in control. The world you live in often calls the productive body valuable. It measures worth by output, response time, endurance, availability, visible usefulness, and how much you can carry without asking anyone to stop. The world looks at the one who is always doing and says, that one is strong, that one is dependable, that one matters. But I look at you before you produce anything, before you answer anyone, before you fix the problem, before you hold the family together, before you meet the deadline, before you become impressive, and I call you beloved. You are not loved because you are useful to me. You are loved because you are mine. Hear this clearly. You are not your output. You are not your capacity to induce. You are not the number of people you keep from falling apart. You are not the crisis you prevented. You are not the role you keep filling because no one else learned how to step forward. You are not the strength people admire while ignoring the cost to your body. You are not the calm face you wear while your insides are pleading for mercy. You are, my child, first, before service, before responsibility, before resilience, before achievement, before anyone names what they need from you. I have already named who you are to me. And when you override yourself again and again, something costly begins to happen. You lose sensitivity to your own need. You stop noticing hunger until you are empty. You stop noticing sadness until it becomes numbness. You stop noticing tension until it becomes pain. You stop noticing fear until your body is already braced. You stop noticing grief until tears come without explanation. Rest begins to feel unsafe because your system has learned that stopping exposes what busyness has been covering. Quiet begins to feel threatening because quiet gives your soul room to speak. And because your soul was trained to whisper, your body eventually had to speak louder. This is why I am drawing near with such tenderness. I am not condemning you for the patterns you learned in order to survive. I am separating my voice from the voice that wounded you. I am teaching you to recognize the difference between holy responsibility and self-abandonment, between faithful service and fear-driven overfunctioning, between love and the anxious need to prove that you deserve a place. You do not have to keep obeying the voice that told you your weariness was inconvenient. You do not have to keep bowing to the measuring system that only blesses you when you are useful. Let this truth begin to loosen something in you. Your body is not betraying you by becoming tired. It may be telling the truth after years of being ignored. Your weariness is not a moral failure. It may be the honest evidence of burdens carried too long, without rest, without help, without permission, without tenderness. And I am giving you permission now to listen, not with fear, not with shame, but with me. I did not create you as separate pieces fighting for permission to exist. I did not make your spirit holy and your body inconvenient. I did not make your mind valuable and your emotions embarrassing. I did not make your soul eternal and your nervous system irrelevant. I made you whole. I breathed life into dust. I joined breath and body, spirit and flesh, thought and feeling, hunger and worship, tears and prayer, stillness and strength. You were never designed to live as though one part of you must be ignored, so another part of you can be accepted by me. This is why I am not only speaking to what you believe, I am speaking to how you breathe, I am speaking to how you sleep, I am speaking to the way your attention scatters because some part of you is still watching for danger. I am speaking to the appetite that disappears when grief becomes too heavy, and the appetite that reaches for comfort when emptiness becomes too loud. I am speaking to the tight chest, the shallow breath, the restless night, the sudden heaviness, the difficulty receiving peace even when your mind knows the truth. My restoration does not stop at your thoughts. I do not only restore doctrine, I restore the places where life has become braced. You have sometimes thought that maturity meant rising above the body, as though the truly spiritual person should be untouched by exhaustion, untouched by sorrow, untouched by pressure, untouched by the need for quiet waters. But I am the one who leads beside still waters. I am the one who restores the soul. I am the one who calls the weary and burdened to come, not to perform, not to pretend, not to explain why the burden became heavy, but to receive rest. I do not mock the weary for needing rest. I invite them. I do not shame the burdened for having a burden. I call them close. My child, you were not designed for endless alertness. You were not designed to live with your body always scanning, always anticipating, always preparing for the next disappointment, the next demand, the next emotional storm. You were not designed for endless suppression, swallowing words, swallowing tears, swallowing anger, swallowing grief, until your body has to carry what your mouth was never allowed to release. You were not designed for endless responsibility, where every room becomes yours to regulate, every person becomes yours to rescue, every outcome becomes yours to secure. You were not designed for endless emotional containment, holding pain without witness, holding fear without comfort, holding pressure without relief. So when I come to restore you, I do not come with shallow relief. I do not come merely to help you feel better for a moment while the roots remain untouched. I come to the fear beneath the fatigue. I come to the grief beneath the numbness. I come to the resentment beneath the tension. I come to the shame beneath the collapse. I come to the old belief beneath the new exhaustion, the hidden wound beneath the familiar pattern, the unspoken memory beneath the heaviness you keep trying to outwork. Let me teach your whole person that my presence is safe. Let your body learn what your spirit has been trying to believe. Let your breath receive what your mind has repeated. Let your shoulders hear the truth that your heart has needed. You do not have to earn the right to be cared for. You do not have to prove that your pain is serious enough before you bring it to me. You do not have to divide yourself into acceptable and unacceptable parts in my presence. I am not asking you to despise your body in order to honor me. I am asking you to bring your whole self to me, because I made your whole self, I love your whole self, and I am restoring your whole self. The part of you that prays and the part of you that trembles can come together. The part of you that believes and the part of you that feels afraid can come together. The part of you that wants to be strong and the part of you that is tired of holding everything can come together. Nothing in you has to fight for permission to be seen by the one who formed you. So breathe gently, my child, not as a technique to force peace, but as a small agreement with the truth that you are held. Let the breath come slowly. Let the body know it does not have to carry the soul's unsaid truth alone anymore. I am not only healing what you can explain, I am restoring what has been speaking through weariness, through tension, through silence, through tears. I am coming for the whole person, and I will not abandon any part of you that needs my peace. And now, my child, I want to help you name what may have been resting beneath the heaviness. Not so you can become afraid of your body, not so you can analyze every sensation until peace feels far away, not so you can force certainty where gentleness is needed. I am not asking you to diagnose yourself with fear. I am inviting you to become honest with me. I am inviting you to let the heaviness speak. In my presence, slowly, safely, without accusation, without hurry, without the pressure to understand everything at once. Because what you have been calling tired may not only be tired. What you have been calling laziness may not be laziness. What you have been calling moodiness, sensitivity, weakness, or a difficult season may be something deeper asking for my care. Sometimes the body grows heavy because grief has been waiting for a proper place. Sometimes the breath becomes shallow because fear has become a way of living. Sometimes the shoulders tighten because anger was never allowed to tell the truth. Sometimes the stomach knots because shame settled there after too many accusations. Sometimes the whole person feels burdened because responsibility crossed the boundary of assignment and became a weight I never asked you to carry. There may be grief in you that never had a place to go, losses that were minimized because other people had worse losses, endings that were rushed past because life demanded that you keep moving, disappointments that were spiritualized before they were mourned, covered too quickly with phrases that sounded faithful but did not give your heart room to ache. You told yourself, it is fine. You told yourself, I should be over this. You told yourself, God has a plan, and that is true, my child. But truth was never meant to be used as a lid over uncried tears. I do have a plan. I do bring beauty. I do restore what is broken. But I also weep with those who weep. I also draw near to the broken-hearted. I also collect tears that others thought were unnecessary. Your grief did not become illegitimate because someone else could not hold it. There may be fear in you that became vigilance. The kind of fear that stopped feeling like fear because it became normal. Always scanning the tone of a voice. Always rereading the message, always checking the mood in the room, always listening for what is not being said, always watching the bills, the health report, the relationship, the conflict, the silence, the possible rejection. Your body learned to stay ready, ready for disappointment, ready for criticism, ready for abandonment, ready for the sudden shift, ready for the moment when peace would be interrupted again. And because you were ready for so long, rest began to feel unfamiliar. Calm began to feel suspicious. Safety began to feel temporary. My child, I see the part of you that has been standing guard long after the threat has passed. There may be anger in you that was never allowed to be honest. Not rage that wants to destroy, but the clean pain of violated boundaries, ignored needs, repeated dismissals, and love that kept costing you your own voice. You learned to put resentment under politeness. You learned to call silence peace. You learned to forgive without ever telling the truth about what hurt you. You learned to move on without repair, to smile without resolution, to keep showing up while something inside you was saying, this is not right, hear me clearly. Forgiveness does not require pretending that harm did not happen. Mercy does not require self-erasure. Love does not require you to offer your body as a storage place for unspoken resentment. Some of the tension you feel may be anger that has been waiting to be brought into my light and purified into truth, boundaries, courage, and freedom. There may be shame in you that settled into the body, shame for feeling too much, shame for needing too much, shame for resting too much, shame for crying too much, shame for not being healed fast enough, shame for still being affected by something you thought should no longer affect you, shame for having limits, shame for being unable to carry what others expected you to carry. That shame may have taught your body to shrink, to tighten, to hide, to brace before anyone even speaks. But I did not form you in shame. I did not knit you together so you would spend your life apologizing for being human. Your need is not disgusting to me. Your tears are not excessive to me. Your process is not too slow for me. I am patient with what you keep punishing. I am tender toward what you keep trying to hide. And there may be responsibility in you that exceeded your assignment. You may have carried other people's choices, as though love meant preventing every consequence. You may have carried other people's emotions as though peace depended on your constant management. You may have carried emergencies that were not yours to own, outcomes that were not yours to secure, adults who were never meant to become your burden, rooms you were never meant to regulate, futures you were never meant to control. You called it love because you cared deeply. You called it faithfulness because you did not want to abandon anyone. But love does not require self-erasure. Faithfulness does not require taking my place. You can care without caring what belongs to another person. You can love without becoming the savior. You can be present without making yourself responsible for every outcome. So if your body has felt heavy, do not immediately accuse it. Listen with me. Ask gently, is this grief asking to be mourned? Is this fear asking to be comforted? Is this anger asking to tell the truth? Is this shame asking to be covered by my love? Is this responsibility asking to be surrendered back into my hands? You do not have to know the answer all at once. You do not have to dig violently into your own soul. You only have to bring the heaviness into my presence and let me reveal what can be revealed today. Place your hand over your chest if you can and breathe without forcing anything. Let the body know it is no longer alone with what it has been holding. Say quietly within yourself, Lord, I bring you what I have been carrying without words. Let that be your surrender. Let it be simple. Let it be honest. What feels like unexplained heaviness may be grief, fear, anger, shame, or responsibility asking to come home to my care. And I am here. I am here. I am not afraid of what is beneath the surface, and I will not shame you for finally letting it be seen. And now I want to name the lies that keep the burden in place. Because healing does not only begin when you feel something. Healing begins when you stop agreeing with the false scripts that taught you to carry what was never yours, hide what needed tenderness, and call exhaustion holy because silence felt safer than honesty. I want to name these lies gently, but clearly. I want to bring them into the light because a lie loses strength when it is no longer mistaken for truth. A lie can sound responsible. A lie can sound spiritual. A lie can sound like wisdom if it has been repeated long enough inside your pain. But my truth comes to separate what has protected you from what has imprisoned you. The first lie is this: if I stop, everything will fall apart. This lie has kept your body in a state of constant emergency. It has told you that rest is dangerous because your absence will cause collapse. Your silence will cause chaos. Your pause will cause someone else's need to go unmet. Your boundary will make everything worse. It has made you believe that your constant availability is the only thing holding your world together. But, my child, I am not asking you to be the savior of every situation. I am not asking you to hold what only I can hold. I am not asking you to manage every outcome, prevent every disappointment, absorb every emotion, and repair every fracture by the force of your own body. You are not faithless when you release what belongs in my hands. You are not selfish when you stop carrying what was never assigned to you. There will be things that shift when you stop overfunctioning. There may be people who feel the absence of the access they had to your depletion. But that does not mean everything is falling apart. It may mean order is being restored. The second lie is this: my pain is only valid if I can explain it perfectly. This lie has made you suspicious of your own tears. It has made you interrogate your weariness before you allow yourself compassion. It has made you believe you must provide a clean reason, a clear timeline, a logical cause, and language that satisfies every question before your pain is allowed to be real. But I understand groans before language arrives. I understand tears before explanations form. I understand silence when words feel too heavy. I understand exhaustion that cannot produce a paragraph. I have heard the prayer in your breath. I have heard the ache in your quietness. I have heard what you could not say without even one sentence leaving your mouth. Your pain does not become valid only when it becomes articulate. Your grief does not become real only when you can defend it. You may bring me the unfinished, unnamed, unclear, wordless weight, and I will not demand a perfect explanation before I offer mercy. The third lie is this: strong people do not need rest. This lie has dressed itself in admiration. It has been reinforced by people who praised your endurance while ignoring your depletion. It has told you that the strongest person is the one who never stops, never needs, never breaks, never asks, never admits that the weight has become too much. But strength without restoration becomes damage. Endurance without replenishing becomes erosion. Faithfulness without stillness becomes strain. Even the faithful need sleep. Even the obedient need food. Even the called need quiet. Even the ones who love deeply need to be restored deeply. I did not design strength to be sustained by self-neglect. I did not call your body holy only when it is exhausted. True strength knows when to receive. True strength can stop because it trusts me. True strength is not the denial of limits. It is the humility to live within the design I gave you. The fourth lie is this: if I admit what I feel, I will dishonor God. This lie has made honesty feel like rebellion. It has made you cover sorrow with spiritual phrases before your heart has had room to breathe. It has made you think that fear is failure, anger is sin before it is examined, grief is unbelief, and weariness is ingratitude. But honesty before me is not dishonor. It is the doorway to healing. I already know what is in you. Your confession does not surprise me. Your tears do not threaten my throne. Your questions do not weaken my power. Your trembling does not offend my holiness. Bring me the sadness. Bring me the fear. Bring me the anger that needs cleansing, not denial. Bring me the disappointment you have been afraid to name. I am not honored by a performance that keeps your heart hidden from my care. I am honored when you come into the light and let me meet you truthfully. The fifth lie is this: my body is betraying me. This lie has made you angry at the very part of you that has been trying to survive. It has made you treat your tension as an enemy, your fatigue as failure, your tears as inconvenience, your heaviness as proof that something is wrong with you. But what if your body is not betraying you? What if it has been protecting, warning, remembering, and asking to be brought into peace? What if the tightness is not rebellion, but a signal? What if the exhaustion is not laziness, but a message that something has been carried too long? What if the tears are not weakness, but truth finding a doorway? Your body is not beyond my tenderness. Your body can learn safety. Your body can learn release. Your body can come out of constant bracing and into my peace, slowly, patiently, gently, as truth replaces the lies that kept it afraid. So listen to me now. Exhaustion is not holy simply because it is familiar. Silence is not safe simply because it helped you survive. Carrying everything alone is not obedience. Pretending you are fine is not faith. Pushing through every signal is not maturity. Healing begins when you stop agreeing with the lies that made your body a storage place for unsurrendered pain. Healing begins when you let my truth speak louder than the old instruction. You may stop. You may need. You may rest. You may tell the truth. You may bring your whole self into my presence and find that I am not waiting with accusation, but with restoration. And if this is where you are ready to agree with me, type this in the comments. I release the lie that I must carry this alone. Let that be your declaration. Let it be your surrender. Let it be the first breath of a body, learning that it no longer has to hold hidden pain without my peace. And I want you to look at Jesus, my child. Look at him not only as the Savior who healed, taught, delivered, confronted, and obeyed, but as the Son who entered fully into the limits of a human body. He did not come wearing humanity as a costume. He came in flesh. He came with hunger. He came with thirst. He came with weariness. He came with tears. He came with the need for sleep, food, solitude, and the quiet presence of the Father. He did not despise the body he took on. He did not treat human limits as shameful. He did not live as though exhaustion was proof of devotion. Jesus slept. Jesus withdrew. Jesus ate with people. Jesus paused by wells. Jesus wept at graves. Jesus felt anguish in a garden. Jesus left crowds while needs were still present. Jesus rose early to pray while others were looking for him. Jesus crossed water. Jesus sat down. Jesus received care. Jesus allowed his body to live inside the design of humanity without apology, without guilt, without pretending that holiness required him to become untouched by human limitation. Do you see the pattern? Withdrawal was not abandonment. Solitude was not selfishness. Sleep was not negligence. A pause was not failure. When Jesus withdrew to lonely places, he was not escaping purpose. He was aligning with the Father. He was not running away from love. He was remaining rooted in love. He was not ignoring the world's pain. He was refusing to let the crowd become the master of his obedience. The urgent need around him did not always define the assignment before him. The loudest demand did not always determine the next step. The pressure of people did not replace the voice of the Father. This is what I want you to receive. Not every need is your assignment. Not every urgency is your command. Not every open door is obedience. Not every request deserves access to your strength. Not every crisis must be carried in your body, as though your constant availability is the only evidence that you care. Jesus loved perfectly, and still he did not answer every demand on the crowd's timetable. Jesus was compassion in flesh, and still he withdrew. Jesus was the will of the Father in motion, and still he slept. Remember him asleep in the storm. The wind was real. The waves were real. The fear of the disciples was real. The pressure around the boat was not imaginary. But there he was, resting in a peace deeper than the surrounding violence. His sleep was not denial. His sleep was not carelessness. His sleep revealed a trust that the storm did not have authority over his identity, his timing, or his Father's hold. And my child, I am not telling you this so you will pretend storms do not matter. I am telling you that peace is not proven by the absence of pressure. Sometimes peace is revealed when your body can stop bracing even before everything around you becomes calm. You have treated exhaustion as though it proves that you are serious, faithful, needed, and devoted. But if Jesus honored human limits without shame, you do not have to call exhaustion a spiritual virtue. You do not have to make an altar out of depletion. You do not have to keep offering your nervous system to demands I never gave you. You do not have to prove love by never pausing. You do not have to prove faith by ignoring your body. You do not have to prove maturity by making your needs disappear. You are allowed to pause without calling it failure. You are allowed to rest without calling it selfishness. You are allowed to receive care without apologizing for need. You are allowed to eat when you are hungry, sleep when you are tired, weep when you are grieving, withdraw when your soul needs quiet, and sit with me before you answer the next demand. This is not weakness. This is not laziness. This is not spiritual decline. This is agreement with the pattern I have already shown you in the life of my Son. So let the life of Jesus correct the voice that has shamed your limits. Let his sleep in the storm speak to the part of you that thinks peace must be earned after everything is fixed. Let his withdrawal from the crowd speak to the part of you that believes love means unlimited access. Let his tears speak to the part of you that has called grief unspiritual. Let his hunger and weariness speak to the part of you that has treated the body like an obstacle instead of a vessel I formed. I am not asking you to become less faithful. I am teaching you the shape of faithful humanity. I am teaching you obedience that listens before it rushes, love that gives without self-erasure, compassion that remains rooted, and peace that does not need permission from the storm. Rest, my child. Pause with me. Let Jesus show you that your limits are not the enemy of your calling. They are part of the place where trust is learned. Now, my child, let this move from something you understand into something you allow. Do not leave this only in your mind. Do not make healing another idea you agree with, while your body continues to hold the weight alone. I am not asking you to force a breakthrough. I am not asking you to manufacture a feeling. I am not asking you to perform peace so that you can prove you trusted what I said. I am inviting you into a moment of honesty with me.